Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Music Den. I'm your host Armando Venditti. We are back with day 15 of our 31 Perfect Albums. I'm joined again by Mr. Jim Bricker. How's it going, Jim?
I'm doing well. Happy to be here, Armando.
That's good. That's good. Mr. Ken Cheshire, how's it going?
Doing well, Armando. Thanks for having me.
Glad that you're here. And the one and only Mr. Bill Schuster. How's it going, Bill? I can't keep a straight face with that smile on your face. It's like, you got that smirk, and it's like he's thinking something.
Always thinking something. Not necessarily coherent thoughts, but
then you fit right in. You fit right in. Okay.
Is it going to be like a Homer Simpson thing?
Yeah. Probably. Probably. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, we're back with day 15 of our 31 Perfect Albums. Again, as is the theme of the show, we've each picked, put together a list of what we believe are our 31 perfect albums, top to bottom, all killer, no filler. Again, as I said in previous episodes, Bill had a difficult time coming up with 31. He had 64 at one point, I do believe, and he had to bring that down to 31. And I'm paraphrasing, but he said it was like choosing which one of your kids you love the most. You know, again, I would never have that issue, but I'm funny that way. But we are going to start the show, and I'm going to again pass the virtual mic over to Bill, and he's going to give us his pick for day 15.
all right. Thank you, sir. This artist has already been mentioned by Ken previously with a different album. I'm going into more commercial territory with this artist here, though I also love the album Ken mentioned. This is the follow-up to his real breakout album, The Stranger, in 1977. But I think this one's an even better version of The Stranger, 52nd Street by Billy Joel. I'm a huge fan of this album. If it is my favorite Billy Joel album overall, it's a real sweet spot. I wasn't necessarily a fan of, like, say, his late 80s work, mid to late 80s. But here he was still absolutely in his prime, I think, as an artist, as a songwriter. He was bringing in some jazz players, which was a cool addition here. So the idea of Billy posing with the brass on the cover here is kind of funny, considering he was not actually a player, but it worked for the cover shot. So whatever. Enjoy your pose, Billy. It looks good on the cover.
Sure.
The big hits here.
At least there was clarinet on the title track.
What's that?
Sorry, I said at least there was clarinet on the title track.
Right. Yeah, that song kind of gets forgotten. It's that short ditty at the end of the album there.
Yeah.
But it works well, and it definitely is an obvious jazz reference, 52nd Street. But the hits were Big Shot, Honesty, and especially My Life here in the States. They were all played constantly. Zanzibar is a not so deep cut to close out side one of the album. It's many people's favorite Billy Joel song, or one of them. I've always loved the song. I love singing along with this entire album. That's one of the things I really appreciate about it. It's a fun sing along album. And yeah, I sing along start to finish. Side two, other than Stiletto, which was it got a lot of play on the rock stations in the markets where I was living over the years. But Rosalinda's Eyes and Half a Mile Away, those really are deeper cuts, I think, and they're both quite lovely. Rosalinda's Eyes is just a sweet song. It was apparently written with his mother in mind. So, and Until the Night. 52nd Street itself is the last song, but Until the Night is really the emotional, dramatic climax of the album. It wasn't really a hit, but it should have been. This thing is an epic thing. It almost feels like a Jim Steinman type production here.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. That the closing. It's that I'm just beginning to feel. I'm just beginning to live all the way. that end just builds and builds and builds emotionally, and he really sells that performance. And yeah, it's pretty powerful. I think this was something that I don't think he would ever quite achieve again, though I like a lot of the stuff that came after also. But he never topped it as far as I'm concerned. So 52nd Street by Billy Joel.
Great one.
Excellent.
Amazing choice. Yeah. I want to ask you a quick question. After listening to his like the hits, I kind of find I do this sometimes with certain artists. I tend to sort of want to go for the album tracks after listening to the hits on the radio and knowing the hits for so many years. I tend to want to listen to more of the deeper cuts, like the album tracks. And is that where you're at with with Billy Joel, or has that ever happened to you with artists?
With some, yeah, not with this album, because I think this album's been in my life so long that I hear it as a whole piece, and I don't really separate those hits out in my head, even though they got a lot of radio play. It doesn't always work that way, but
Okay.
they don't feel like hits to me. They feel like just part of the 52nd Street album.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, amazing choice. Amazing choice. I actually have to check that album out. I really have. I don't think I have any Billy Joel in my collection.
This needs to be corrected, sir.
Wow.
I know.
Do we have to do a new artist
I have to do-
discovery?
No, I have to do a walk of shame. Like, Jesus Christ. If I could walk, it'd be wonderful. I mean, it would be so poetic. You know what I mean? No, but it's true. I need to check out some more of his stuff. So, but we must carry on, ladies and gentlemen. Ken.
All right. I'm continuing into the early 80s. I think a lot, and I've got several more to come because those were the years I was in college. So a lot of good memories. So what comes to mind when I mention the names Andy Mackay and Phil Manzanera?
Avalon.
That's right. Avalon is my favorite Roxy Music album.
Mm-hmm.
Adding Brian Ferry to those two, they're the core of Roxy Music at this time. And then they filled out the rest of the instruments with excellent musicians, on drums and the other instruments. I was surprised to find out it only ranked at 53 on the US charts. But at the same time, during that time, there weren't so many subgenre sales charts as there are now. So, but anyway, it has certified at $1 million in the US. 3 singles, Take a Chance with Me, More Than This, and Avalon. And More Than This and Avalon are just wonders for me. To me, this is in a way, it's almost like a jazz album.
I get that.
Yeah, and it's one of those that you put on and you just chill back and relax. Put on the headphones or whatever, close your eyes and just chill out to it. I think the musicianship is wonderful. Rhett Davies and the band, with their production. I don't remember hearing much else like this at the time. I think it's a very unique album. I always wanted a sequel to it, but of course there wasn't one, except a lot of time Brian Ferry's solo album after that sometimes is considered a sequel to it because it has a lot of the same factors to it.
Yeah.
But so my number 15, Avalon by Roxy Music.
There's a sophistication to that album that
Yes.
it's just, my God, it's really good. Yeah.
That's a great word for it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
another one of those artists that hit a
Right.
creative peak and then just, oh, we're done. Never mind.
Yeah.
We hate to
Yeah.
get your hopes up that we got so good all here, but that's all you're gonna get.
Yeah.
And it's also one of the artists that um, went through at least one major change in their sound. And this is very different from their early work.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh
Yet
yeah.
they did both styles so well.
Mhm.
And to me, this stage, the final stage of Roxy Music was, um, I almost consider it a maturity of sound
Sure.
and studio, masterworks and whatever. But yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
good feel good album.
Absolutely. Yeah. I have a very, very distinct memory of just first hearing that cassette and just the way the chiming guitars start more than this, the bass and percussion jump in and the second guitar, and then all of a sudden Brian Ferry's voice, and it's like, all right, holy crap, I have never heard anything like this. It was just so soaring and sublime.
Yeah, and McKay's sax work on this, just so melodic.
Yeah.
Saxophone's not one of my favorite instruments, but man, when it's done good, it's just
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. And this is
Yeah.
one of those.
Yeah. Just to add, people, I've heard people say, "Oh, the album sounds certain albums sound too perfect. There's just too much of a sheen on it." What's wrong with perfection? When it comes to a good sounding album, and what's wrong with wanting to have your albums, whatever artist you are, sound like, that there's a sophistication to it, which this album does. There's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a richness to it, and the emotion that goes into like songs like More Than This. It's like, my God, I actually sit there and I tear up when I hear it because it's just effortless. It comes across as effortless, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, it's not. There's a
Yeah.
lot of work that goes into it,
Right.
but there's just an effortless sophistication that goes into this album that's just like, the hell, like it's just could it get any better, right? Right, than
Right.
what you're
Yeah.
hearing.
Yeah, well, that
Yeah.
mindset's like people saying they don't like Sergeant Pepper because it's too good.
Well, they can kiss
Eh,
my butt.
give me a,
I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
give me a break.
Yeah, Sheen and Sophistication definitely have their place. Now, they don't have it with, say, the Sex Pistols, but for Roxy Music, it's absolutely perfect.
yeah. No, I agree. All right, Jim,
Me? Me?
the man of
Okay.
the hour.
Hey, all right. So I remain the furthest back in our chronological order. So Bill has leapt ahead of me, so I'm still stuck in 1977. This my selection, I think you could call it 180 degrees from Avalon, and this is the third Pink Floyd album on my list, and it is Animals.
Mm.
I'm not usually one for bleak and unrelenting records, but this one just hits so hard. Um, I think clearly Roger has issues, and I think these issues started to come to the fore with the writing of Animals. It's basically his treatise on like the worst characteristics of humanity. And even the most positive moments on this record are just awash with bloodshed and paranoia. I mean, this whole thing is just, I can't think of two other better words than bleak and unrelenting, with dogs and pigs and sheep. It's beautifully bookended by the Pigs on the Wing, ballads, parts 1 and 2. But it's not something to listen to, when you want to feel good. Avalon, now that's a feel good record. Animals is sit and think and just kind of be awash in a different way. I mean, it's a completely immersive record, and you sort of get what, Waters and Gilmore and the guys are going after. Um, it's hard to imagine a band that could top Pink Floyd's, 3 mid-70s releases. Um, I kind of wince just a tiny bit that I've got these 3 records, Animals, Wish You Were Here, and Dark Side of the Moon, in there, but because they feel, just so, obvious choices to me, but to me they are perfect. If I wanted to put together, a record collection for, my grandchildren one day, and Grandpa, what are perfect records? Well, come here, son, daughter, I'll show you. And Animals would definitely be in there. um I wouldn't call it the happiest music that exists on the planet, but I think it definitely achieves a mood and achieves it spectacularly. So, Animals from 1977.
Jim, you're not fooling anybody. We know you just like it for the barking dogs.
Okay. All right. Moving
No,
on.
no, I like it for LG.
Okay.
Long live LG.
Okay. Well, that is a good album. It is a good album.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, my pick for day 15. We are going to October 17th, 1980 for The River.
Oh.
Double album, 20 tracks. Oh my, what to say about this album? The original album title was The Ties That Bind. It was originally a single disc. Bruce Springsteen had written, just a bit of background, ladies and gentlemen, indulge me if you will for just a minute and a half here. Springsteen had written an album's worth of material, like say 9 or 10 tracks. Got everything ready, sent it off to Columbia Records for it to be pressed, and then said, I need it back. Give me it back. I'm not done yet. There's more I need to say. And he came up with another, album's worth of material, 11, 10 more tracks. Top to bottom, it works. And this album does need to be listened to in its entirety. Take some time and sit down with whatever you need to indulge yourself with and listen to this album. Starts off with The Ties That Bind. Fantastic. Sherry Darling, Jackson Cage, beautiful. Two Hearts. Side one ends off with Independence Day.
Mhm.
Okay. This is Heartland rock at its most finest. Okay. Pub rock, whatever you want to call it, it's Heartland rock. It is beautiful. Side two starts off with I believe it's the lead off single. It was the lead off single, Hungry Heart. Okay. I mean, come on. It's one of those tracks that just make you want to sing along and just get into the storyline, of the song about this guy who basically realized his life is not his own anymore and he has to leave his wife and kids, and just start new, right? Which is unfortunate for the wife and kids, but it is what it is. And then it goes into Out in the Street. Crush on You is another fantastic rocker. You can look, but you better not touch. How many times have we all heard that, in our lives? I Want to Marry You, The River, which ends up side two. Point Blank starts up side three. Cadillac Ranch, that's an ass shaker of a track. I'm sorry. I do prefer the studio version to the live version that appears on the box set. I'm a Rocker, another fantastic, ass shaker of a track. Fade Away, Stolen Cars, another good one. Ramrod, uh, The Price You Pay. For me, Drive All Night, perfection. 8 minutes plus of just gut-wrenching, emotional vocal delivery from Springsteen. Just you can just when he's delivering those lines, at a certain point in the track, you can just feel that his throat is being ripped in two because it's emotional. It's just like, I can't even describe it. It is that good. And it ends with Wreck on the Highway. It takes you through so many different emotions. Sorry, guys, that you go through different experiences while you're listening to this album. You need to listen to it. You really do. My brother-in-law Mario was a major Springsteen fan. He would bring this album over many times he would bring us a stack of albums, like say Yay High, right? And me as a 9-year-old, 10-year-old, like records, like I would just soak them in. And this was one of them. And I should also say my brother-in-law Carmen saw Springsteen on this tour at Maple Leaf Gardens, and the show went for 4 hours. He has the record for having the longest concert done at Maple Leaf Gardens. And it got to the point where the band were leaving the stage. He says, I don't need no fucking band. I can just play with my guitar. They had to carry him off stage, physically lift him and carry him off stage. So, and it was on this tour. So yeah, you really need to, if you haven't checked this out, what are you waiting for? Check it out. It is amazing. It is sublime perfection. Track 1 to track 20. Do not skip. Please do not skip. And that's my choice for day 15.
And the box set is even better.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, because in the box set you have the original album as it was originally delivered to Columbia. You also have a concert, an entire concert that's in the set. Yeah, believe me, when these individual sets came out, I sought them out before they were really expensive to get. So I have the one for Darkness on the Edge of Town, for Born to Run, and for The River. So big surprise, right, guys? So
And just a note about the original, the Ties That Bind. There's probably half of that album that did not end up appearing on The River, half if not more. So
there's also a good handful of the songs on The River that were left over from Darkness on the Edge of Town.
Yep,
that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. I mean, for every 4 songs he wrote, Springsteen recorded 1.
Right.
So maybe it might even be 5 or 6 to 1.
Yeah. At one point I read it was 4 to 1. So you imagine how much surplus he has, how much leftovers that he's got in terms of compositions. He just
during the years between Born to Run and Darkness, while he was going through that lawsuit, he kept writing. And
that was his saving grace, I would imagine. To keep him going. And
so we had a big backlog.
Yes. But just in closing, I mean, I've said in other episodes that there are bands that have an album that's a critical success and an album that's a commercial success. I think he had 2 critical successes with 2 commercials and 2 critical successes. The 2 commercial ones for me were Born to Run and Born in the USA, and the 2 critical successes were Darkness on the Edge of Town and The River. Right. That's how I break them down.
I think Nebraska was a critical success. I mean, it was like 180 degrees from The River.
Completely from The River. Yeah, but okay.
I agree.
All right. Everyone's got their opinion. So I mean, but if you haven't checked this out, you really do need to check it out.
If it hasn't already been done on the channel, Armando, I sense that maybe a Springsteen episode is in order.
0, 4, 3, 6, 8, 4, 8, 4.
I know.
And we should invite them along too.
I know.
Clearly they have
whoever's calling, come over and kick the crap out of you for bugging me on the phone for this song. Okay. Anyways, guys, that is our show for today for day 15. Again, put your comments in, down below. What you believe is your perfect album, and it doesn't matter from what genre. Yes, Taylor Swift included. I'll relent. I'll let that go. So
Klaatu, can we put that in there?
which one?
Klaatu?
Sure.
All right.
Sure. Go ahead. Yeah. Sorry, guys. The phone kind of threw me off. Again, this is day 15 for the 31 Perfect Albums. Again, I want to thank Bill, Jim, and Ken for joining me on this adventure. And so far, it has been an adventure, phone ringing and all. Again, put your comments down below, and we will see you for episode 16. Bye for now.